Oh, I got my Clark Kent glasses on, huh?
Yeah, you do.
I forgot about that. My reading glasses, my Clark Kent reading glasses on the 22nd of January.
So you see your eyes, Tom.
The 22nd of January.
No.
Oh.
No,
I'm going to wear a hat from now on. Superman hat. Where did I get this from?
I don't know. Where did you get it from?
This has nothing to do with the debate last night. What this has to do with is, you ready? Yeah, I got no hair anymore. It's all gone. My hair is gone on Thursday, the 22nd of January 2015 at about 6 minutes after 4 o'clock. Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State. So now that I've revealed my...
your true identity.
Yeah, my dark. It wasn't, my hair was never black. Everybody thought it was black. It was very dark brown. And I put these white highlights in it for that...
it makes you look very distinguished.
That mature look. But these cameras make me look like I'm going bald here.
Well, you like you got a racing streak, right?
That's my hair. That's
they went a little close yesterday.
That's the way Wayne. That's the way Wayne cuts it. You know, Wayne is my what do you call it?
Barber.
Hairdresser.
My hairdresser.
No, it's just, you've been cutting your hair for 30 years, ain't it?
He's been cutting my hair a long time. Yes, Wayne has. Both of us have watched our hair kind of change through the years. And but he's a good guy, except he talks like this.
What?
He's a soft talker?
A soft talker?
That's one thing I've never been accused of being.
No, you have not. You know, he's cutting my hair. He goes,
right.
"Hi, Tom, how you doing?" I said, "Wayne, shut the machine off or talk up. I cannot hear you, okay?" "Oh, okay, I'll talk a little louder." He's just a quiet, reserved guy.
It has nothing to do with your hearing.
Nothing to do. Just a soft spoken. You know, he talks slowly. Imagine cutting 20 people their hair, 20 people a day for 30 years. I mean, and you're standing up and you're talking to them. You don't want to knock some of them in the head, I guess. And he's with us on the issues and all of that. Anybody that has a knife close to my head, they got to be with us. They got to be with us on the issues.
Yeah, it's like kind of like Al Capone's barber too, right?
Yeah. He's got to be. Oh no, I know about Mr. Capone in Chicago. When he was getting his hair cut, he had like 5 guys with Tommy guns just sitting there, whoever was cutting it, you know. What am I going to do with my Superman hat? I got an idea. Let's take the symbolic representation of our president and put it on him.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, thank you.
All right, Mr. President, you're underneath there.
Oh, I'd already...
Oh, Mr. President, does the Superman hat too big for your head? Oh, okay. Well, we'll deal with that. All right, we have all kinds of things going on. We got extremely dangerous developments in the Middle East. We have Yemen changing a little bit. The Houthi tribe has negotiated with the president. The president has met all their demands, and there seems to be a calming of the situation in Yemen.
For a day.
And essentially you're going to have what was a pro-American president, now a pro-Al-Qaeda president of Yemen. Al-Qaeda is going to build the Al-Qaeda, the base there most likely. But you know what? We're going to have an expert in just a few minutes who can unravel the complexities of these geopolitical, violent extremism groups all over the world.
He's brilliant.
I can't believe I said those words, violent extremism.
Yeah.
Puking.
Do you need to gargle with some mouthwash after that?
I think I do, because it's what's called give me 5 minutes. Give our brilliant guest 5 minutes.
We got him.
Okay. An old text. In the world of logic and philosophy, an elliptical question or statement is one that doesn't quite answer everything. Violent extremism of what? Of who? Of where? Of how?
Two adjectives.
It's a spontaneous disease. It's like Ebola. You never know who's going to get it.
It's a ridiculous statement, but we'll let our special guest deal with that.
Yeah, 2 adjectives trying to explain some unknown noun.
Some concept, yeah. Some unknown noun. That's pretty good. 2 adjectives, violent and extremism, trying to explain some unknown noun. You put the noun.
Is this violent extremism, is it bacterial or viral? Do you know?
Yeah.
Or it's not ideological. It's
Well, that's-
definitely.
We'll ask our guest. We'll ask our special guest. But last night was interesting. Let's just touch base on that. We don't have any B-roll or anything, do we?
Did you ask for B-roll?
No, we don't have any. It was a rhetorical question. Last night I was invited to debate a fellow, and another fellow, and another fellow. 3 guys against 1. Would you say that was?
Yes, you.
And it was unfair, I admit.
3 mice against 1 man.
No, they should have, to make it fair, they should have gotten about, what, 6 or 7 more people on their
Yeah,
side?
no, because they're dealing with this guy.
They're dealing with that guy, right. What I've learned through the years, folks, is if you are on the side of that which is true, and you've been raised in a Sicilian family where you have to fight to defend your viewpoints, you pretty well can beat anybody in any sort of debate.
Kind of like Joe
issues.
Pesci in the movie where he went and defended the people. What was the name of
Oh,
My Cousin
My
Vinny.
that? My
Cousin
Cousin Vinny.
Vinny.
Yeah,
that-
Joe Pesci, My Cousin Vinny. That's Tom. Yeah.
That was, yeah. Well, hey, let me tell you something here. I debated 3 individuals. One, the host of the event, Rabbi Barry Silver, who's a friend of ours. And Barry and I agree on nothing at all except Israel, for the most part.
And Jihad, he's with you on
He's with
the
us on that.
Jihad issue. Yeah.
He's with us on that. And then the other individual was Mark Scheidner.
Who you have a lot in common with.
Yeah, he's an ACLU guy who is an atheist. So
He's
2
actually the
strikes.
state director of the ACLU.
State director, is he?
State director, ACLU in Florida. Atheist, and also believes Islam is misunderstood.
Yeah, the subjects of last night's debate was whether or not President Obama's normalization process with Cuba was good, again, elliptical, good for what? Good for who? For Castro, it's great, So, plus also the Islamic jihad issue. And then Rabbi Silver at his synagogue brought in an expert, Carlos Diaz, a former professor of Florida Atlantic University on multiculturalism and geopolitics, born in Cuba with a vita. I mean, his vita went on for page after page. He's written 5 or 6 books, written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles. But he was not quite up on Article 53 of the Cuban Constitution. We'll bring you all of that at some point. It's always difficult when you have the capability with the technique of debate and the content on your side to not lose the audience. When I first started doing this stuff years ago, we had a pretty hotshot team of people on one side, and we would go to universities and debate the top communists or atheists or whatever. On the other side, and we were destroying them. We were slicing them into pieces and leaving, metaphorically, their bodies on the stage. And we would go back after that and pat ourselves on the back. And then we had a wise professor who said, "You guys are winning the debates, but you're losing the audience. You're too strong and too tough. The people can't take this." So we then learned to switch the dynamic from winning a debate to winning an audience, which means sometimes you actually lose on debate points.
You're confusing me again, Trento, like last
slick
week when you
stuff.
was trying to convince me Islam had nothing to do with Islam. Now you're confusing me again.
Muhammad had nothing to do with Islam.
You convinced me that Muhammad hijacked Islam. Now you're trying to tell me that you win by losing. I'm leaving.
That's because I wear this hat. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The El Presidente wears this hat right now. All right, well, let's leave the nuanced protocols of Trentonian debate for another day. And we
Right.
do teach that stuff around here. Let's bring our special guest in. He's a
Okay.
dear friend of the United States of America, a dear friend of ours, and a vilified, would you say? Vilified?
We view this man as one of the supreme Islamophobes in the country. In fact, this is one of the men that we demand. Fox News, no more have this man.
Well, let him speak for himself. You're free to Imam Abdullah to speak to Ryan Mauro. Let's give Ryan Mauro a rousing round of applause.
There he is.
Whoa, we scared somebody here on the ground.
I scared someone?
What's that?
I scared someone?
We have a hidden guest who lives on the floor of the studio
And likes to lick
Oh,
stuff off the
okay.
floor.
I got you.
and not liked by
By
the-
Muslims, yeah.
by the religion of peace. And she just moved a couple of feet when you came on. What do you think that
Yeah, I
means?
don't know. I don't know.
I don't
My
know.
face scares millions.
She
of people.
probably like him.
She may like him. Yeah. Hi, Ryan Mauro. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well.
Good. We want to just spend a little bit of time with you. Our script today with you, see it? You can see it right there.
Yeah, and you know how much I love that.
The script is blank, so whatever comes in from the vibes, I have two sort of vibes. This on one side and this on the other side. So whatever I get from these guys, we'll talk about today. So this is free-range radio and internet television.
This is your life,
This
Ryan
is your
Mauro.
But we did.
First off, I'd like to start off with a very important point.
What's that?
Which is that I hate your Superman hat because I'm a Batman guy.
Oh, actually, Tom is a Batman.
It
guy.
sounds like you've got your next debate lined up.
No. I only put I have to agree wholeheartedly with you.
Yes.
And I have better Batman stories than you, I guarantee it, Ryan Mauro.
Really?
I'll tell you one in a minute. But I got a haircut, and I revealed a new haircut, picking the first hat that was close to my office. I keep Superman hats in my office. I have a lot of hats.
Yeah, Tom is a Dark Knight, though. He really
I'm
is.
a Batman guy. This is in, I think on my Facebook page. I grew up in Newark, and I went to Bricktown, New Jersey, high school. But when I was going to Bricktown as a young guy, we lived in Newark, New Jersey, but we'd go down to shore. You know what that means, Ryan Mauro, down to shore?
It means you're hanging out with me.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. We'd go down to shore on weekends, and I could not wait until Batman came out every month. I think it was a quarter back then, whatever. I would go by.
There we go.
How's that, man? Look at that. All right.
Yes.
I will wear this for you at some point. I would buy the magazine and go read it. You did that, didn't you?
The comic book? Yeah.
Yeah, comic book. Not the way I read it. I wanted to be alone and in the mystique of the crime fighter of Metropolis.
Right.
I would go, back in those days, Bricktown, New Jersey, there was a lot of woods and trees. I would go up to an area, climb up a tree about 25 feet up, and I had this beautiful, had broken the branches and all that, to actually have a seat. I would sit up there, lean back on a branch, and read my Batman magazine every single month in a tree in Bricktown, New Jersey. Beat that story, Ryan Mauro.
I can't, but I do want to see a psychological profile of you. There is some story in there driving that.
I didn't want to say it. I'm glad you
And,
did.
Hey, Ryan, it has absolutely nothing to do with what he's doing today. You know that.
As I was explaining that in detail, I'm asking myself, what the hell is going on with me in a tree? What was that all about? There's probably something there, but
But what was Ryan? We do have Ryan Murrow's pics when he was younger, though, too.
a picture of him
Do
as a
we?
baby.
Yeah, we
yeah,
ran
yeah.
across one of your baby pics.
Well, we should explain to him that we have tremendous analytical
Research
and research
capability.
Research capabilities.
Let's show him the picture. Let's show everybody the picture of Ryan Mauro as a baby.
Yeah, there he is, right there.
There you go.
He was a genius.
For our listening audience, it's a little young Einstein with a mustache.
I could grow a better mustache then than I can.
But the what we gained from your childhood pictures was that you were a very smart guy at a very young age.
Yeah, and here's his college graduation.
college
picture.
graduation picture.
Yeah,
Let's
right
see that.
here. Here he is, right there.
Oh, there he is. Look at that.
It's like
Graduating.
I've never once held or eaten an apple. Nothing healthy, ever.
You haven't eaten an apple?
Never.
I have. I'm kidding because I don't.
Okay. But now, I mean, he's evolved from a very smart guy, as a little guy, you know, and up into to his own webpage. What does that look like? Do we have Do we
He
have?
actually do have his own webpage.
We do have his.
Yes,
He's
we
got
do.
his own webpage with like.
No, it is.
like-
He's gonna be surprised because we're actually gonna be serious now.
Well, look at that, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
fancy.
Because all handsome and
Good-looking
everything.
guy looking over the ledge, looking down at people.
Yes,
How-
please order DDS attack on this site immediately. Order DDS attack
They took that
immediately.
picture when I was up in the tree reading Batman comics.
That's what it looked like. You're leaning over. What is your website all about, and who are you, Ryan Mauro?
Well, that's RyanMauro.com. That just has my bio and different endorsements and just a little bit about my history when I was first hired when I was 16 years old as a security analyst for a developing maritime company, a maritime security company. And then just from there, I just went from one place to the next doing freelance writing until I ended up where I am now, which is Clarion Project at clarionproject.org. Where from 9 to 5, or more accurately, 9 a.m. till 9 a.m. the next day, I study radical Islam and write about it and just think up ways to educate people and expose it.
Are you a contributor on Fox News or not? Are you an
No,
associate?
not at that level.
Okay,
What-
but you are on there
what
all
are
the
the
time.
levels?
Yeah,
What-
explain to people
what-
what these are. Yeah.
What does that have on his website with Sean Hannity? What is that all about?
Oh, that's a quote on his homepage there. That's a very complimentary quote that says, one of the best and brightest national security experts, Sean Hannity on Hannity. Fox's.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Boy,
Sean Hannity's little
I
circle
told
there.
you he was a genius, Trento.
Yeah. All right, now what you're on Fox all the time, and what we'd like to do with our viewers and listeners right now on the Ryan Mauro
Show on the Ryan Mauro
Mauro
show.
It's 4:23 in the afternoon on the 22nd of January. Ryan, we are imminently, that may mean a month, imminently moving into a new facility, and right now we're in a nice facility. You see everything going on here, but it's fake to some extent, or it creates a mystique. We're moving into a facility that will have a virtual green room, a very large studio, green walls, green floor, everything. We'll be able technically to do everything that CNN or Fox can do when they're standing in the middle of a crisis and pointing here, there, everywhere else. Then we actually have a second studio in our facility for a small focus group audience. And we have some very ambitious plans, not only here we are showing our latest update. Not only are we going to be producing more material, but we are searching for people to join our network.
Oh yeah,
Because we're starting a
So
network.
what are the different levels in Fox News, and how can we emulate them if we wanted
Well,
to do that?
what we want to do is sign up Ryan Mauro to be one of our presenters, as they say in England, to do a show, do a weekly show,
Yeah.
and then you get your own show here in our facility. No, we can't send a limo to pick you up like Fox does.
But we can send an Astro van.
A 1996
How about the
Astro van.
96 Astro van with no AC?
We can do that. You may have to.
You're
may
stepping
have-
up
we-
to the big time now, Ryan.
We will bring.
Oh, we wish we were joking.
We give you your own wet wipes to wipe the sweat off of you before you go on the air.
But they're in the little Sealy packs though, so they're
good.
classy, you know.
How
But we
does
did.
Fox-
We give you a lint brush for the dog hair, though.
How did the? It's all true, folks. Please donate at theunitedwest.org. Please donate at theunitedwest.org. What are the different levels? I mean, you are a regular contributor, early in the morning till late at night. Ryan Mauro is on Fox, and you don't live next to the studios. It's a hike from where you live in New Jersey to where they are in Manhattan. What are the levels? What is your role now with Fox? Because you're on all the time right now.
Basically, the guest that's willing to go that far for it. I'm not sure of the exact levels and how that works. I mean, I know contributors are paid, and I'm sure there's some stipulations on where they can appear and when and things like that. All of that I'm not privy to. Basically, they call me. They say, you want to come on at this time to discuss this topic? Okay. Give us an idea of what your analysis is, very loosely. And that's it. And then it's off, and I need to start running.
I heard that you have
30 years old to get a check from Fox News, and that in a couple of years you'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Unless you're a beautiful lady, which I am not. I
Yeah.
am neither of those qualifications.
Now,
Right.
I got a question. Do you have like a publicist, or how does this actually work for you that you actually got this all started and everything?
That was just through who you know. One person passes along an article to another person, and look at how skinny I am there. With that goatee.
I know the goatee. Yeah, you actually look older back then, Ryan. So
I believe it. And yeah, so it basically
Whoa.
it's just you get
Yeah,
your
look at that,
material
look at that.
down, you get to know different people, and then you got to impress them because they have a line out the door of people that want to go on there.
Yeah.
And you better be available when they call.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll just move on to the next person.
That's how we are here, man.
Well, that's because you're jobless and homeless, right?
I do notice, though, with your more frequent performances and visits on Fox, you moved from our Skype situation, from the basement of wherever you were to
yeah, he's moving up in
kind
the
of
world.
a
Yeah.
fancy background.
He's got
now.
a better camera.
I
now,
like
yeah.
the basement thing he had going on.
Hey, whatever it is, it's
I
better
have my
than
own place.
whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's
I
better
moved.
than Andrew Bostom's.
Yeah, Andy Boston Skypes in from his bedroom with his underwear laying out on the bed. No, seriously.
No, check the video. Seriously.
You're not exaggerating.
We have to tell him when we do the testing.
And he take the socks off the drawers, please.
Close the drawer, put the socks away. Oh yeah, I can't be bothered with all that. I want to bomb Iran. I want to bomb Iran. You know.
Wow.
No, Andy's very big on bombing Iran, and looks like we're going to have a special in February, mid-February,
yeah.
with a very featured guest who wrote a book on the concept of the necessity of the United States to bomb Iran now. A very distinguished author, and then a couple of other experts who are holding that position. And we are, as of this morning, going to coordinate that with Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Congress. We want your input on this, Ryan Mauro. His visit to Congress to basically tell the United States, stop Iran. What are your thoughts on the Iranian situation, negotiations, the two benchmarks in March and then in June, and the concept of stopping Iran?
You know, the more I study Iran, the more I realize how much leverage we have and how that leverage is growing with each passing day because of low oil prices, poor infrastructure, the young population. It becomes easier and easier of a problem to solve in terms of destabilizing the regime, pressuring them, and it's amazing that we have this whole list of options, and it seems like very few are being exercised. One of the things that really bothered me was in the State of the Union address, how President Obama characterized the sanctions bill, which is supported by Democrats and Republicans. He made it sound as if it implements sanctions right now, would torpedo the negotiations, and would basically mean we're violating this interim agreement, which is faulty to begin with, but he was making it sound like we would be the ones that would break the agreement as a result of Congress. It's not what happens. With the bill, basically what it says is that at the end of the next negotiating period, sanctions would be implemented on Iran, or re-implemented, I should say, and then they would get progressively worse. And that raises the pressure on the Iranian regime, and President Obama would still have the freedom not to implement those sanctions if he comes to Congress every 30 days and he shows that Iran is in compliance and he gets a waiver. So the only reason you would oppose this deal, in my mind, is if President Obama wants to sign a deal that Congress would view as dangerous.
Yeah. What do you think? I see that. What do you think the role in that complex situation with the president's whatever swirling in his mind? What do you think the role of Valerie Jarrett, his right-hand woman on all things, someone who was born in Iran, and what do you think her role is in his mind vis-a-vis Iranian negotiations?
I honestly don't know, but what I do know is that if you look at the comments of Obama administration officials, numerous times we've heard them talk about containing a nuclear Iran. we've heard from some other advisors who the Clarion Project has interviewed, where they said no, they were talking about military plans to stop a nuclear-armed Iran. But just the fact that you have those debating containing a nuclear-armed Iran means that that debate is happening within the administration. You look at some of the rhetoric of President Obama comparing Iran to the Soviet Union, citing this mysterious anti-nuclear weapon fatwa that no one seems to be able to find anywhere. And it's really disturbing, and it seems to indicate that he's willing to tolerate at least an Iran with a nuclear breakout capacity.
Yeah, for our viewers and listeners, at 31 minutes after the hour, 31 minutes after 4 o'clock here on the 22nd of January in South Florida, we have our special guest Skyped in from up north where it's cold. How cold is it today? Easy, Ryan.
I don't know. I don't go outside.
That's good. It's like 500 degrees down here, and let me guess, it's 0 up in New Jersey.
It's cold. I do know that.
So eat your Garden State heart out. But the situation is that you were in Israel a couple of months ago, as I was. I sat down with some very high-level, significant officials discussing the Iranian situation, and they said, look, Iran is not getting the nuclear weapon. They're not going to have the capability to make a weapon, to have a delivery device, put all of that together, that's not going to happen. If Israel has to make sure it doesn't happen, Israel can do that, but they told me Israel cannot do that to the extent that the United States can. Said Israel has the capability to push back the Iranian program a few months, a year at the most. The United States, because Israel doesn't have the capability to hit all 11 or 12 facilities, and some of them are very deeply underground.
Well, understand that the further explain that point, because Mark Langfan really explained it. He said up on there's a huge mountain that's on the western part of Iran, a huge mountain range.
Okay, here's a nuclear facility. Here's the ground. Move this thing. Boom, bomb blows that up. Put that underneath this. Now you got to go boom, 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 boom. Israel doesn't have this capacity yet. The United States does have it. So these individuals told me the United States can set their program back maybe 3 years. That buys a lot of time to do something. Now, at this point, we really have a debate going on within the counter-jihad, the pro-Israel national security community, with folks like Dr. Andy Bostom, who says this green revolution that Michael Ledeen and others talk about, even Caroline Glick to some extent, this green revolution that, there's all the younger iPhone-carrying Iranians who are Persians, they're not Arabs, they're pro-Western, get rid of the Ayatollahs, and voila, you have a new society that, is going to want to watch Mickey Mouse and wear Nike sneakers. Andy Bostom and others say the data does not support that. The significant polling shows that they prefer the Sharia. They prefer the top-down dictatorial kind of approaches in many areas, particularly national security. So that's a big gamble, whether or not there is something to fulfill the regime if the Ayatollahs are indeed knocked over.
Well,
and we got the MEK.
A lot of nuance and contradicting data that's hard to make sense of. And some of it is anecdotal, to be honest, because when you interact with the Iranian opposition, they're almost indistinguishable from us. Now the question is, how much does that reflect what's going on inside of Iran? When you look at the polls, and obviously you need to be suspicious of any poll that goes on inside of Iran.
Right.
But the ones that do seem to be credible, what you see is a high percentage that still want governance based on Sharia, but they don't seem to understand what that results in. Because you see high levels of support for free elections, for having an opposition, for all of these things that are pillars of a democracy, but then they support Sharia having a role. There's a strong minority that doesn't want Sharia having any role, but a much larger percentage does want that. And this is something that's really interesting that I see when I talk to Muslims around the world very often. where they say, oh yeah, I want Sharia because I'm a Muslim and I want that to be part of the national identity in the Constitution. But then you start saying, well, what about oppressing gay people and freedom of speech and all these different things? And they say, well, I don't want any of that. So there seems to be a disconnect there between what they perceive Sharia to be and then how it actually is implemented.
Yeah, and historically, even going back to the Shah and his son, the Shah's son, is involved in some organization that this past weekend had a demonstration in Boca Raton supporting Charlie Hebdo and that whole movement in France.
How many people were there? I'm curious.
I actually drove by it. I was invited to speak there, but I had another appointment. And I saw a couple hundred people. I don't know the total, but there is a website that's out there. Rabbi Barry Silver was invited. He spoke there. He spoke about it last night. So what we're talking about, folks, this is extremely relevant. So relevant, the Prime Minister of Israel is coming over here next month to talk to Congress to say, tighten the screws on Iran, otherwise we're going to have a problem. Matthew Koenig has written a book, A Time to Attack, and he was an official with the Obama administration. He says it's time to attack Iran now, and he makes a very detailed, very systematic argument. There's the cover of his book right there. Matthew Koenig, A Time to Attack. He makes the argument that if we attack Iran, it's going to be unbelievably bad. But if we don't, it's going to be unbelievably worse. And he lays out the argument. It's a very, very difficult argument.
He's
to
not a
overcome.
hardcore conservative at all.
No,
right?
no, he's not a right wing, guy. That none of that. But here's how relevant this is at 38 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 22nd. WSBR Radio. We have Ryan Mauro from New Jersey, our guest, Skyped in. You can contact him at what? If people want to contact you, they got to get out of their car right now, but they go, oh, we have a lot of Jewish women watching
They can just
the show.
text while they're driving, everybody.
We have a lot of Jewish women watching, and many of my Jewish women friends always have somebody to fix up with somebody else. And you are a single guy, aren't you, Ryan?
Yeah.
I am.
Okay, all right. So
if there are any girls that want to deal with a workaholic that will neglect you almost 24/7, that has an irresistible immaturity to virtually everything he says, then you can email me.
But who's on TV?
how do they reach you?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right. That's all that matters.
How do they reach you?
They can go to Ryan at Clarion Project.
Wait,
Stop laughing over him and let the guy get a date.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
It's Ryan at ClarionProject.org.
Okay, Ryan at ClarionProject.org. Now,
And it's Schmucky at the UnitedWest.org.
now let's take this to phase 2. This woman that you would like to have
Yes.
contact you.
All right.
Dark hair, blonde, any preference?
I like brunettes more.
Brunettes,
Brunettes,
okay, we're
okay,
making
good.
somewhere. Okay,
I do.
Good. Age range?
Let's see, I'm 28, so somewhere in that ballpark. Make sure that they're very patient. Like I said, they need to be independent and self-sufficient, so that they can occupy themselves while I'm working all the time. And they should expect to see me about once a year.
Do they have to speak English?
So far,
Then we can't talk, so that's wonderful.
so far a brunette that will
Russian
not-
Russian bride. I think it's Russian bride.
What about some shkarol, as we say, in some scratch? What you a wealthy kind of heiress? Would that be nice?
Yes, as long as they're not expecting me to have that wealth.
Okay, that's good. All right, we're doing serious national security radio today, folks, at 40 minutes after 4 o'clock. Interviewing
So far we're down to a rich
A
mail
rich
order
brunette,
Russian bride that
dark
doesn't
hair.
dark hair. So then
okay.
probably descended from a czar.
Yeah, let me tell you something. If the guy walked out of the Fox studios into the bar across the street, he'd walk out of there with 3 on each arm.
I know.
So I don't know what we're helping him with.
It's in New York City. That's not happening.
We're gonna cut this little piece of the show and send it to The Bachelor.
That's right.
And, try to audition for you. But here's the situation with Iran. Then we have a couple of other questions for you. We have obviously Benjamin Netanyahu coming over as of last night. Boehner put an invitation out to the Prime Minister of Israel. Did not tell the White House, so we got a very upset Mr. Obama. He didn't like that. He got bypassed on this. But Congress doesn't have to get his approval to do those sort of moves.
He does have to get Congress's approval to do some of his moves, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't really understand that.
And this national security move is going to cut two ways. It's going to be very positive for Netanyahu here, and that should affirm Congress's increase of sanctions on Iran. But also back home, Netanyahu's in a tough battle. He seems to be in the lead right now. But the Labor Party, the leftists, are pushing him hard. This is going to raise his bona fides even more in terms of working with America. And we have, gentlemen, the Israel Security Project nestled right in the middle of this, which is an objective approach to repair the damage Obama has done and increase our national security relationship with Israel. But Ryan, right now we have Iranian general who was killed the other day by some unknown missile fired from some unknown helicopter because Israel has not claimed the fact that they killed a general who was on the Syrian border in the Golan. Not too long ago, you were on the Syrian border in the Golan. What was that like, and what are your thoughts on this general dying? What is Hezbollah or Iran's retribution going to be, do you think?
Being on the border was really surreal because you're seeing the smoke go up from the fighting in the Syrian civil war. I was probably like Jabhat al-Nusra types and some Free Syrian Army types fighting the Assad regime. And you hear explosions go off. I saw a convoy go into the mountains where the fighting was happening, and then I heard a series of explosions happening, which would be consistent with an IED attack. And you might have just heard someone get killed. It's really surreal. But as for the strike on Hezbollah, this was obviously a high-level meeting that was going on. They were planning something. We know that from the leaks. Hassan Nasrallah, the chief of Hezbollah, was talking about how he would invade the Galilee and go further and really giving indications of a forthcoming attack on Israel. So Israel did the right thing. They saw these high-level officials there, an Iranian general, obviously having a high-level meeting, and they said, all right, we're going to preempt this possible attack and take out some of their high-level operatives. And it was the right thing to do. And I think any reasonable country would have done the same thing. I'm really interested in this Netanyahu speech that's going to happen at Congress because, man, when he makes a case, he makes it. And right. I think there's going to be a lot of attention on this, especially because of 2016 and things like that. And the only weak spot will be if he starts giving timelines. And that's because Netanyahu in particular and the Israeli officials as a whole have consistently said since as far back as I remember, oh, we have 6 months. We have a year. And we hear that all the time. So I don't think that is going to work and that could damage his case. What he needs to do is talk about how this deal specifically will lead to consequences of a nuclear-armed Iran that's bad for the U.S., bad for the whole region, and really go after the particulars of this deal, of the negotiations, and the price we have to pay if we don't implement sanctions right now when we have a very big opportunity.
All right, at 44 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast, Tom Trento coming live on WSBR Radio, also live on theunitedwest.org, teapartycommunity.com, and Breitbart TV. We're putting a lot of stuff up. In fact, Alan Kornman and Damon, you're in here, Damon?
Yes, I am.
You're here. These guys were at Stand with the Prophet against hate and terror. This past weekend, we have some new video coming up there. We're going to have Ryan comment on that in a moment. But right now, we're talking about the developing situation in Israel where a general of the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, got whacked by a missile, along with some folks from Hezbollah, and what the ramifications are. And Ryan is saying that Netanyahu makes his case very, very well. Ryan, one of the ways that we properly spend the donation money here at United West that we receive from our donors
Cigars?
is by making $5 bets, okay? So for those of you out there who want to continue assisting us in our
betting
way
habit.
of managing geopolitical affairs, please go to theunitedwest.org. Top right-hand side on the homepage, donate securely. We will use your $5 very, very effectively. We have a $5 bet on the table, Ryan Mauro. Will, and you guys too, 2 or 3 of you in here now, I want to spread the bet out. Who thinks President Obama, who wants to take the yes side of this, will invite Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House?
I'm going to say negatory.
I think he will.
I think he will.
You think he will, all right?
Me and Ryan have
We
a
got
$5 bet.
We got a bet there. Ryan on the positive side, you on the negative side. Mark, what's your view? I say no.
No, I'm with you on
You're
this.
with no? Okay.
And
What's the
usually I
reasoning
disagree with
behind
you.
no? Because I feel like it's in his self-interest to do it.
Yeah, it is. But his hubris is a great word, his pride is going to get in the way of his self-interest. That's a bizarre situation when your pride gets in the way of your self-interest. That's usually narcissism, and that's what we have
That's
there.
what we have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You want to double down, Damon, and do the 5 with me? I say no. You say yes.
What kind of money you think I make, Trento? $10 you want me to bet?
Okay.
Done. Done. Done.
You're in. How
I'm
about
done.
with Mark? 15.
No, come on, man.
Okay, 10.
5 and 5, Trento and Mauro.
Okay, I
Hey,
say-
I want to show Ryan one picture, kind of like Rorschach. You know how you say, what do you
Well, hold
say? What do you when you see this picture? What do you think? Kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, look at that.
Can you see
picture.
that?
I do see it.
Okay. What's your immediate response to that?
Let's tell the audience.
Yes, the audience.
yes.
What this is Nihad Awad, or as we term him affectionately, Jihad and Dawa, the national leader of CARE, with one of a very highest ranking Iranian Ayatollahs, Khatamami, I believe, or Khatami or Khatamami. I can't remember exactly the enunciation on that. But for everyone who says the Shia, actually, that's all. That's it. That's all I'm going to say, because I want to hear Ryan's response
All right, yeah.
to Jihad and Dawa shaking hands at a CARE event with a top Shia Iranian official.
I'm not surprised at all. The Iranian supreme leader said a couple months ago, he said, we support Shiite and Sunni jihadists. And he wanted the whole world to understand that. And that, I think, is indicative of Hezbollah and Hamas trying to get close together, Iran maybe trying to make up with the Muslim Brotherhood, despite their differences over the Syrian civil war. I know there was a fundraising banquet for CARE some years ago where there was a donation from an Iranian diplomatic facility.
Right. Well, I got a question for you too, Ryan. With the why? Please help us understand why the Obama administration would side with Iran on any issue and not side with Israel. What is the rationale or thinking? Does it have something to do with Valerie Jarrett or what?
I think it just comes from a very popular worldview that is very prevalent in the left and also in the more libertarian right. That says that basically all of this is a result of Western overreach, Western imperialism, the impression that we're not willing to negotiate, we tell you how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to be. And so if you come from the idea that Al-Qaeda is a result of things like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that we make them so mad that it drives them to extremes because they can't fight us in the battlefield.
Jimmy Carter
to carry out
says so.
terrorism, then you're going to say we need to basically be nicer to Iran, treat them as an equal partner, and look past the crazy things that they're saying about why they do these things.
But let's say you do side with Iran. Why don't you? why is there never any negotiating with these governments, or like, for example, Russia, or better yet, like Cuba too? There's never a negotiation. He always just gives away the farm for nothing. Gitmo, another example. He's just releasing prisoners for nothing.
Bergdahl.
Bergdahl is another example. I mean,
those are negotiations. They're just bad negotiations.
but it's
Because
not
the
even
greater
negotiations. It's like
For the U.S. to appear reasonable in this multipolar world, and to undermine the impression that we're imperialistic and we tell you how it's going to be. So there's really a clash of two worldviews here regarding the source of Islamic extremism.
Islamic extremism. There's so much we want to do with you. We only have a few minutes left.
That is why this man should never be on Fox again. He just link Islam and extremism.
Yeah.
Please do not say the T word. Do link it as well.
One of the things, Ryan is the spokesperson for the Clarion Project in the United States of America. And I've been working with helping the Clarion guys for a long time. They do amazing work. They make the documentaries.
Iranian
Tell us a little
session.
bit. Tell us a little bit about the Clarion Project and what you guys are working on now. And I know you need to raise money for some of these projects. How the donors can help get you some money for these projects.
Sure, we're entirely donor supported, and we're basically an educational organization that studies Islamic extremism, but we also focus a lot on trends, where things are headed, how to reverse those trends, how to shape them. So instead of just giving you a snapshot where we say, oh, something bad happened in Paris, how awful is this? We'll talk about the greater dynamics at play, what's fueling it, how to counter it, and we engage in a lot of activism in filmmaking. We have a film that we're working on about the persecution of minorities, especially Christians, in the Muslim world. And I've got to tell you, from working with my colleagues, we scrutinize every dollar. I'm far from a wealthy person. So if you donate $5, the impact you're going to get is far beyond that. And it's a very rewarding group for me to work with, where I basically get to wake up each morning, learn as much as I can about what's going on, and come up with an analysis that incorporates as many facts and factors as possible.
Speaking of okay.
You get paid, Ryan?
I do.
Is that? Oh, okay. That's a unique concept, you know.
I have to live off the dollar menu. As you can see from my previous Fox appearance that you were airing and what I look like now. But yes, I get paid.
Okay. Speaking of trending, on the Clarion Project, what is trending? And this shows you the sick mindset of many in the Arab world. After the Charlie Hebdo attacks, I Am Charlie was very trending. After the brutal attack yesterday in Tel Aviv, you know what's trending? I Am a Knife is trending on Twitter.
I Am Knife.
And that's right off the Clarion Project.
Yeah, as soon as the attack in Tel Aviv on bus line 40, we have Michael Ganone on reporting live on that. Just right as soon as it happened, an artist, a Palestinian artist, drew a knife and said, "I am knife," and it was tweeted out. Google and YouTube shut it down very quickly, but it's out. It's going on emails. It's going all over the place. So yeah, I mean, this, these are who these folks are.
You want to tell Ryan about what happened with our cartoons with you?
No, not yet. No, not yet.
No. Okay. Well, you said it last night.
We said it last night, but that didn't go out over the air. This is going out over the air today.
Okay.
We got to get our ducks in order on that one. Okay. But what I do want to ask Ryan, because 2 months from today, it's January 22nd. 2 months from today is March 22nd. That's 5 days after Israel has their election. And I think the 21st of March, yesterday, 2 months from yesterday, is the first deadline for the Iranian decision regarding sanctions. So a lot of stuff is happening in March from the 17th through the end of the month. On the 21st actually, we will be in the United West as a team going to Israel. And we have a couple of seats left. We're signing up, finishing up everything this week. Group of about 25, 30 people. Behind the scenes national security tour. Hey, if you want to come, you got to contact me today. Today's the 22nd. Tom Trento. Tom at theunitedwest.org. Tom at theunitedwest.org. Tom, I want to go. It costs $3,000 plus air. Trip of a lifetime. Fabulous time to be there. Ryan, you just got back from Israel. Take a couple of moments and share your experiences, not only on the national security issues, but personally as a believer, as a Christian.
Sure. For me personally, obviously not speaking on behalf of any organization, me personally, I definitely feel more connected spiritually than I ever have been. And I'm very cynical. I don't talk like that. I could have God show up and ring my doorbell, and the next day I'd say, oh, well, maybe I was drinking too much or something. You know,
Right.
it just, that's who I am. So for me to say that, it's a powerful statement. From a more political national security perspective, it's important for people to go there to understand the danger that Israel faces when it's only about 8 miles wide at one point. And you can understand why they do some of what they have to do just in order to survive. But there's also a lot of hope because when you go to places like Jerusalem, the hotbed of the conflict, and you see Jews and Palestinians getting along and hanging out, and you say, you know what, that's what peace looks like. If on this person-to-person level, people are able to get along like that, despite all of the propaganda and all the
Right.
disagreements, then peace is possible one day.
Yeah, I don't think people...
You put your cough button on, I think.
No, I think
Oh, we lost you?
I think the bad...
Oh, okay. Battery. Go ahead. Well, so Ryan, so what was the spiritual experience that you were talking about? I mean, did you? I'm kind of curious to know more about that, about you as a person. Did you see angels or what
No,
was that? Okay.
No, and like I said, if I saw angels, I probably wouldn't believe it. It was deeper than that, and it's hard for me to explain, particularly in a public outlet. There's just a connection, almost like a voice you start to hear, not audibly, but within you. And I've been to Israel 3 times, and this is a new experience that I've had. And I'm not saying that it means I'm hearing from God to give me orders on what to do every day or specifically or anything like that. It's just very difficult to put into words. And I think it's so powerful that even if you're not a Christian or even a Jew, I think if you have any type of spiritual component to you, if you go to Israel, I think you're going to feel it. I think it's that powerful that it breaks down any religious or philosophical barrier you may have.
Tom, don't be messing with me. What are you doing?
No, I'm back on the air. Battery's back in. Everything's working fine. Thank you for the personal insight.
We talked about the phone volume.
It's the sounds from heaven. As an
That's
evangelical,
the sounds from heaven for Ryan. Yeah.
as an evangelical Christian, I could second that there is a connection to the land. Notwithstanding the dispute that Christians have with Jews theologically over the Messiah, the fact that Jesus, who we view Christians as the Messiah, is a Jew from Israel, from Jerusalem, from Nazareth, from Bethlehem, and Galilee and all of that, and I studied all this stuff in school for years and years and years. It becomes alive and real and touches you very personally. And people don't understand that Jews and Muslim Arabs are indeed getting along. Many of them are very
Yes,
friendly.
they are.
Now, the Muslim Arabs who are getting along with Jews don't follow the Quran,
Like the Druze up in the north.
yeah, like those guys, even others. But that raises a very, very important debate that's being had in the counter-jihad movement here in the United States, because there's a group of people that think Ryan's view that there's a possible moderate Islam is out to lunch, and in fact, Ryan and others who hold that view are doing a disservice to the real issue that it's Islam. Islam is the problem. That's a very detailed, important debate and argument we'll have on another show because we're running out of time right now. But let me tell you, we thank you very much, Mr. Ryan Mauro, for being on the show. And we will filter the ladies and make sure those with extreme wealth find their way to you. How about that?
Yeah, and please filter out the guys. That tends to happen.
And if you have meet a girl with a very attractive grandma, let me know.
There you go. 2 for 1 here. We can do it. Ryan, you take care. In fact, everybody take care. Tom Trento signing off for Ryan Mauro, who's with
Okay.
us.
All right.
And everybody in the studio. We'll see you tomorrow on Friday. Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday. Bye.